Okay, next company is K2 Gold. K2 is a mineral exploration company focused on gold located in North America. So now we're heading to North America. They have the Mojave Carlin type gold project in southwestern US and in the Yukon, and where they also control the Wells Gold project. They have a market capitalization around 45 million, fully diluted share count of 213 million. They trade under the TSX Venture under KTO and the OTCQB under KTGDF, and in Frankfurt under 23K. I'd like to welcome Anthony Margarit. Thank you.
All right, everyone. Thanks for your time today. My name is Anthony Margarit. I'm President and CEO of K2 Gold. Let's get into this. Oh, whoa, too fast. Okay, people ask me all the time, what am I excited about with the Mojave Project? First is grade. We've got a 5-kilometer long near-surface oxide gold trend. It's one of 5 trends on the property. Our highlight hole from our last round of drilling is 86.9 meters at 4 grams per ton, all oxide from surface. Last fall, we had a crew out sampling 1.5 kilometers north of that high-grade drill intercept, and they picked up a 375 gram per ton rock sample, another 142.5 gram per ton rock sample. That 375 gram samples equates to 12 ounces per ton. Tremendous results. It's never been drilled. It's a new discovery. Like I said, 1.5 kilometers north of where we previously drilled, extending that trend to 5 kilometers. The next is the scale of the property. So it's almost 6,000 hectares. When you're standing on one side of the property looking east or west, it's almost 10 kilometers across. It's a true polymetallic system, although we're focused on the gold zone on the east side right now. It is a true polymetallic intrusion-related system. Next is it's a historic and active mining region. The historic Cerro Gordo mine site was the largest silver producer in California in the mid-19th century, produced for 70 years. We'll get into some history about that as we move along here. So I came into my role in late 2021, beginning of 2022. We hit the reset button on management. John Robbins is our executive chairman, founder of Discovery Group. I've worked with John on and off for the past 20 years. Myself, I'm a geologist by trade. Spent a good portion of my career with Rio Tinto, and then moved into the consulting space. That's when I started working with Discovery Group. Eric Beitenhuis, my vice president of exploration, is his history. He worked with Kaminak Gold, another Discovery Group company that was acquired by Gold Corp for about $500 million in 2016. Eric and I worked together when I was consulting for Kaminak and Gold Corp. Jim Paterson came on. He's co-founder of Discovery Group, came on as a director. Carolyn Clark-Loader, one of our directors, great history. She's a lawyer by trade in the US, spent most of her career with Freeport-McMoRan. Mainly focused on tribal engagement and land access issues. She's the first living woman to be inducted into the Mining Hall of Fame in the US. Rita Bennett, who's here at the back, worked with Great Bear Resources as the Vice President of Corporate Communications. Chris Taylor, former CEO of Great Bear Resources, is an advisor. Chris previously held our Mojave Project in Great Bear, an earlier iteration of the company, and is the reason why the project came into the K2. If you're not familiar with Discovery Group, it's an alliance of 8 public companies. Each company has its own management, own board of directors. It gives us great access to capital. There's been a tremendous track record of generating shareholder value. Since 2002, been responsible for over $2.6 billion in merger and acquisition activity, and raised over $1 billion in equity that has gone into exploration through the companies. Great Bear Resources is our biggest win in the last, throughout that time, acquired by Kinross for $1.8 billion in 2022. Kaminak Gold, as I mentioned earlier, $520 million in 2016. Great Bear Royalties, $200 million. Northern Empire, as I said, great track record of generating shareholder value, gives us access to great deal flow when there's people out there looking to bring a project of merit into a company. We see some great opportunities. We'll go into our capital structure here quickly. That 20% management's actually about 22% management ownership right now. The 40% close associates is mainly Haywood and Canaccord, 2 brokerage firms in Canada. No true institutional ownership at this point. The rest, 40% retail, float, I guess you can call it. As this gentleman said earlier, 151 million shares outstanding. These warrants at 30 cents, there was a lot of strategy behind that. Our recent financing this year was at 15 cents with a half warrant at 30 cents. Prior to that, we were financing at 10 cents with a 30-cent warrant. That was a big stretch. The strategy behind it was we expected to get a significant share price re-rate once our permit for the Mojave Project came through. We're seeing that now in our trading. We traded 1.5 million shares yesterday, traded up to 42 cents, 42.5 cents at one point, closed at 37.5, I believe. We're looking at those warrants as the way to finance this next phase of drilling instead of as a poison pill. Those warrants are in the money right now. A good portion of them have a pretty strong accelerator on them. Let's get into the project. So, can I point and tap with this? And point at stuff? I guess not. Okay, so the line bisecting this blue and gray section, that's the California-Nevada border. It's a Walker Lane trend we're looking at here. We're on the California side of the border. If you look to the south of that, we've got Equinox's Castle Mountain mine. The Golden Queen mine was recently acquired by Andean Precious Metals late 2024. Great to see some new blood in the area, and just want to show that mining is happening in California, especially gold mining. We went through most of the points there earlier. This is what we're focused on right now. We've got 5 high-grade gold near-surface oxide trends that we've identified. We're focused on the easternmost one right now. We've got 4 copper trends with a strike length of over 5 kilometers on the west side of the property, 4 silver, lead, zinc target areas. There's over 200 historic mines and workings on this property. The scale of mineralization here is astounding. This gold zone was initially discovered by Newmont. This project was also held by BHP at one point. It was the last property BHP held in their portfolio when they were shutting down their exploration offices in the late 90s in North America. We know that BHP was there for the copper, not for the gold. This project's well known to a number of people. The reason it still is at the stage that it's in, it's not because of the mineral potential. The mineral potential is tremendous. It's been unlocking access to it through permitting. We were elevated to the environmental impact statement level of permitting in 2022. Initially, my reaction was not positive on that. As I got more comfortable with it and formed a relationship with the Bureau of Land Management in the US, this is all federal land. It's open for mining. This area was part of a wilderness study area in the early 90s and the late 80s. It was removed from the wilderness study area because of the known mineral potential. We were elevated to this high level of permitting for a number of reasons, the majority of which is there's a lot of eyes on this because it's in California. The Bureau of Land Management knows when they issue a drill permit, they're going to get hit with a lawsuit from an NGO. They told us this very clearly. Having the environmental impact statement in hand gives them the most defensible product when they're standing in front of a judge and there's a decision to be made. There cannot be an injunction granted against us to stop work once the environmental impact study or the environmental impact statement is granted. We began our last 45-day public comment period about 2 weeks ago. We will be finished that June 16th, and the permit grant will be happening imminently after that. We'll get into that in a little bit. Let's go back to the geology. So here we're looking at the first 4 holes from the Dragonfly target area. I didn't cherry pick these. I want to show the continuity of mineralization here. You can see these beautiful high-grade cores up at the near surface level, but as you come through these are very steeply dipping stacked structures. They dip at about 70 degrees. It's not one structure, they're multiple stacked structures. The deepest drill holes in this area are 160 meters. No one's been able to pierce 2 structures with 1 hole. The next phase of drilling we're going to complete will be an average of 300 or a minimum of 300 meter length holes with the ability to go to 500 meters. We'll pierce multiple structures in 1 hole, demonstrating the continuity here. Like I said, it's all oxide. This is a great image. So the Dragonfly zone in the south end of the picture here is the most northerly area we drilled. The Gold Valley target area up at the north there, that's where we had those extremely high grade samples. It's 1.5 kilometers to the north. New discovery, never been drilled. The geophysics line up on this beautifully. This structure continues up to the north. We have a very high level of confidence, and I can't wait to drill this thing. The dotted lines that we're looking at here are interpreted structures. We've had field crews out for the last 3 weeks converting those dotted lines to solid lines, so we know we need better control on the mapping in this area. That's what we're doing now. Collected about 400 rock samples just to have a better understanding of the mineralization. Very interesting to note, across the property, as you go from south to north, we really see the mineralization intensify. This just gives an overview of putting things into spatial relationships. So you see the Newmont zone at the southern end. That's the most southerly area of the gold zone. Gold Valley target area up at the north end. We got to get moving here because I'm running out of time. Let's shift over to the west side. This is the Stega target area, most southerly copper target area that we see. It trends mainly north-south, north-northwest. The cross-cutting structures that we see in this area are where we see the highest grades. That's where that 14.2% copper sample came from. This area has never been drilled. 5-kilometer long trend here. Just putting that in perspective, this is the Stega target area I was just talking about. We'll move up to the north. I call that the Soda neighborhood because we've got Soda Valley, Soda Canyon, Soda Ridge. When you're down in the south end of this target area, you see a very strong silver-lead-zinc association with the copper. As you move to the north, you see more of a transition to a classic copper-gold porphyry. Got to get moving here, but this trend is about 3 kilometers long, 400 meters wide. Here's where we start to see the elevated copper numbers at a greater continuity, and you see very nice silver numbers associated with it. Move on to this. So this Cerro Gordo target area is a separate land package we acquired in 2022. The Cerro Gordo mine, you can see it says Cerro Gordo on the east side of that land package there. That's where the historic mine was situated. We expected to see very strong silver, lead, zinc numbers come out of this area. We did not expect to see the gold association up here. Best sample we had runs 18.1 grams. The gold that we see is on the structural, the lithological contacts between geology. We need to do more work out here to understand that better. But one thing I want to point out, the Cerro Gordo mine, at its peak production in 1884, was producing 18,000 pounds of silver bullion per day. That translated into 300 bars that weighed 88 pounds and were valued at $355 in 1874. That was a tremendous amount of wealth. That mine is the reason that Los Angeles exists. They used to tram the silver bars down from Cerro Gordo, barge them across the Owens Lake, and mule train them out to the nearest deepwater port, which became the town of Los Angeles. Like I said, the mining history in this area is fantastic. We've got great local support. Want to jump into where we are in the permitting process right now. So this has been a long process, but we're coming to the crystallization point here. Like I said, we're in the final 45-day public comment period. It ends June 16th. Every week on Friday, I get an update. Right now, there's 92 comments in on the project. None of those comments are substantive. At this point, 10,000 comments could come in from the public that say, we don't like mining, we don't want this project to move forward. That is not a substantive comment. At this point, a substantive comment means they have to challenge the baseline studies that we've completed. We've gone above and beyond what we need to do. I'm a big believer in social license. For instance, this is our proposed drill program for our next phase of drilling. We're proposing 30 pads, 120 holes. Our draft environmental impact statement went live when this public comment period began. It was our first chance to see the unredacted version of this document. The best thing that I saw coming out of it, there was 4 proposed actions, from number 1 being K2's proposed action, the final 4th one being no action. The BLM, Bureau of Land Management, has to put their preferred action into the draft EIS. Their preferred action is our proposed action. That means everything that we've put forward, they believe is what should happen. Unless something comes out of the woodwork that we completely don't expect, this will move forward. There's no tribal land claims formally in the area. We completed an ethnography study last year to clear the social license on that front. I had a meeting with the chief of the tribe last Thursday in California. He had just come from a meeting with the Ridgecrest field office for the BLM. He told me that the outcome of the meeting was that he was told the project's going to move forward, and then he asked if we wanted to buy water from the tribe. We will definitely move in that direction. It's a great public relations move. We have 3 other water sources to select from. If that doesn't work out, we've already got contracts in place for those. We have a strong possibility that we'll be drilling a well in our next phase of drilling. Don't have time to get into our SI2 project. I'd love to talk to you more about this. It's a very exciting project. This has been a long road to get where we're at. It's a very exciting time for us to see this coming to fruition. And I'm very happy to see how our trading has been over the last few weeks. It's been fantastic. I don't know, we've got a minute, 30 seconds left if there's one question out there. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You're talking about oxide gold. Maybe explain to people who don't know the significance of that.
Oxide gold is the easiest way, it's the easiest style of mineralization to get the gold, separate the gold from the rock, basically. It's, and we've done a little bit of metallurgy work here. We had 98% recovery. So with oxide gold, you can open pit mine, bulk mine, open pit, and use the leach method to dissolve it. Currently, most people use cyanide. There's been a tremendous amount of work lately on biologic heap leach as well as iodide heap leach. I know we're out of time. But I would say in the next 5 to 7 years, the industry is going to move away from cyanide to a more environmentally friendly solution here. So yeah, please find me if you would like to talk. I'll be at the cocktail thing tonight. I've got a pretty full schedule for the rest of the afternoon, but happy to meet with people anytime.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.